E minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to the Play It By Ear podcast, the podcast where the topics may vary because, hey, we play it by ear. And now your hosts, Eric Fiskus and Brady Liming.
Because, hey, we play it by ear.
Very much so.
I always love that part. The great Matt Vaughn on vocals of our intro. We welcome you to episode 110 of the Play It By Ear podcast. Yeah. How about that?
How about that?
I'm Eric Fiskus.
And I'm not.
All right, Chevy. My compatriot Brady Liming is with me.
Hello. I bid you a good morrow and a good night.
Apropos with the British accent, with the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah.
You know what? Oh, like seriously, we've been inundated with all things royal, and even in my little blurb that I put out for Facebook, where I made reference to royal none such, which is actually a Huckleberry Finn reference, but that right. Can't be accidental. It's got to be ingrained into my psyche.
From sophomore English class, or was that freshman? I don't know.
That would be sophomore.
I'm not sure I read the book either way. Freshman, sophomore.
Really?
No. Great Expectations, Huck Finn, whatever else. I don't know that I read any of them. I was able to fake it till I made it. So, yeah. Fade it till I made it.
Faded, yeah. Like I'm trying to think. I kind of got a little bit tongue tied there. I didn't want to accident. I was going to try to rhyme it with muck, but then that would have gone poorly. So I had to catch myself at the last second.
No, because my general opinion, and I hope Miss Wilson's not in the room because I'm going to say this, and I will. If anybody who's in the room that's not Miss Wilson says I said this, I will deny it. But my general opinion of conversations and discussions about novels and such really goes back to that scene from Back to School, the Rodney Dangerfield movie from the mid-'80s.
Yes.
So for those of you who are not familiar, Rodney Dangerfield's character is rich. He's so rich that I guess he wants to stay around his soul. Oh, no. Oh, no.
And meanwhile, let's talk about our upcoming topics, Eric. I'm going to give you an exit off the highway.
I'm brave. I'm going to continue this. Miss Wilson, please do not be offended. So Rodney Dangerfield's character goes back to school because he's rich and he wants to kind of live the college life with his son without really doing any of the work. So he hires all these different people, and he has 4 or 5 dorm rooms together in this big suite, and he has all these people working on his different projects and papers and such. And one of those papers was on Kurt Vonnegut. So he hires Kurt Vonnegut to write the paper. So part of the story was like a romance between he and Sally Kellerman, who, by the way, was the original Hot Lips Houlihan in the MASH movie.
She was the
So
English professor in the movie.
she was. So they get into this big fight, and she kind of knew that he was hiring people to do his work. And as the zinger at the end of this little argument they had, she says, "By the way, whoever you hired to write that paper on Kurt Vonnegut doesn't know the first thing about Kurt Vonnegut." And I'm paraphrasing. So the next scene cuts to, and I'll tell you what, Vonnegut, I'm not going to pay you for blah, blah, blah. So, present company excluded. Generally, literature teachers have these discussions about meanings in novels and such that I'm not sure that really are the meanings that the author intended. And then they try to pass them off as being the real meaning. Again, present company excluded, Miss Wilson.
She would never do that.
She would never do. No. So that went way off on a tangent there. She's giving me the silent treatment now. She's not commenting on any of that. Like I said, I dearly love you, Miss Wilson. You're one of my favorites. So do not mean you. But I have encountered a fair number of those sorts of people in my college career. Let's just put it that way. So whilst I retrieved my foot from my mid
your
gullet,
anus,
my mid gullet, probably did go so far down it's near my anus. But yeah, that's right, Howard. I don't get no respect. That's
no
probably
respect.
It's probably what Miss Wilson's saying right now. So if you're in the room, if you have not checked in, please do so. Savannah's with us. Maxwell's with us.
Maxwell.
The aforementioned Miss Wilson is with us, still giving me the silent treatment. I won't feel better until you comment. You can call me whatever you want. Just comment so you're not giving me the silent treatment. Becky with us. Hello, Becky. Been a while. All right. So moving on, Brady, retrieve me from this cesspool I'm in here.
Yeah. Don't forget that next week is the Brown County Fair. It's the Brown County Fair. And Eric, I might be making this up, but were we thinking about possibly taking the week off because nobody in these parts will be around to listen?
Yeah, we've discussed that. We had discussed several different things. It may include taking a week off, but we'll let you all know.
Yeah, you'll have to go to the Brown County Fair and get your fries and your stuff and your pachyderm external auditory meatus.
And, of course, the ever-popular pork tenderloin.
The tenderloin, yes.
Yes, Miss Wilson. That's why I loved your discussions, because you were good with that. She says, I didn't, and I always said, if you can give me proof from the text to support your opinions, I accepted it. Yes. Not all college professors are like that, however. It's
no.
their way. It's like regurgitating what you're told. But again, moving on.
Yes.
Visit our website, www.playbyyourpodcast.com, and we'll talk about that as we go along here at various points in the show. If you've not been with us, we have topics that we bring to the table. Each of us, we have not discussed said topics prior to the show. Organic discussion. I always say 20-ish minutes. Really, since there's two of us, I don't even put a timer on us anymore. It's just like, okay, we'll discuss the topic till the topic is exhausted, and we'll move on. But
till the deceased equine has been properly flagellated.
Did you say flatulated or
flagellate?
Flage. Did you say ute?
Utes.
All right, we are in the order on the screen in which we will present our topics. Brady will be first. I will be second. Mr. Liming, take it away.
I shall. So, I got to thinking, it's fall, it's beginning of school, and what brought this topic on was I got to thinking about my alma mater that I graduated from, Moorhead State, and I was telling somebody about like walking by the music building, there was a piece of graffiti that stayed there for years that just simply said, "A lobster's a lobster's a lobster." And I mean,
I mean, what more can you say?
what more can you say? And probably somebody that got out of philosophy class. And anyway, I'm just saying, it's like they probably came out of philosophy class and wrote something down because they were feeling inspired. But that got me to thinking about graffiti in general, that people have had a chance to snap a picture or document a piece of pithy, humorous, or downright funny graffiti. We've all seen them, right?
Sure.
Now, we are keeping this TV 14, so I will not be diving into any bluer aspects of graffiti. Is that all right with everybody?
Good with me. That's our standard TV 14.
Yes, it is. Start off with something simple because a lobster is a lobster is a lobster. Let's go succinct. One that just said, Humpty Dumpty was pushed, man.
Could have been. Did anyone ever investigate that crime?
I don't know. I mean, there seemed to be a lot of triaging between King's men and equestrian team, and they could not reassemble Mr. Dumpty.
So you know, I always or often I will reference one of my favorite comedians, Gary Goldman, and he has a bit on Humpty Dumpty, and he says, first of all, if your last name is Dumpty, why do you name your child Humpty? Don't know. And he falls off the wall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men. So why are the horses involved in this little operation? They don't even have thumbs. What use are they in all this?
Why not call? I mean, you could have called a veterinarian or an ornithologist that would have more experience in eggs and reconstructing them. But anyway.
So Miss Wilson makes a good point. The Humpty Dumpty graffiti was on a wall.
Oh, it had to be.
Yeah.
That's a great thought.
There you go. So it's even deeper than what we thought.
Yes. I mean, it certainly wouldn't be bathroom graffiti. They're thinking about another kind of Dumpty. Sorry. Sorry. That was too easy. My bad. All right. Employees must wash hands, and I waited and finally washed them myself.
Wow.
Underneath of the sign.
Nicely played.
Nicely played. So you can see the kind of vibe we're getting. Like I said, it's not the base limericks, there was not a man from Peru in these. It was like kind of, like I said, pithy, showery thoughts. Not all of them.
So could you stick your head out of the bathroom and say, hey, who's going to come wash my hands? The sign says employees must wash hands.
Yeah, it's kind of like where they changed the signs where people were parking at the sign that said fine for parking. They said it was fine.
Howard brings up a good point. He is named Humpty so people can do the Humpty dance much better than the Dumpty dance. I think I've done the Dumpty dance a few times myself. But,
all right. There's one, and this is kind of a haul kind of thing, but under the elevator out of order, scribbled underneath was try the one across the street. Which is anyway. I get just enough exercise by pushing my luck.
wow.
Million of them. Take my wife, please.
So Howard brings one to the table here. And this, I hope we're not taking any of your thunder here, or she's stealing your thunder. But the sign says no shirt, no shoes, no service. Does that mean you can shop sans
Sans.
pants without your pants?
Yeah, it'd be kind of like animated dogs and cats, the ones that they wear a shirt, but you never see them wearing pants usually. But anyway,
Maxwell, the Dumpty dance is for when you have irritable bowel syndrome. Yes.
Very well played. Here's one: always be sincere, even when you don't mean it.
Yes.
But
the oxymoron within the graffiti.
Yeah. Wet paint, and in parenthesis, this is not an instruction. I had to think about that one when I read it.
Okay, just a side question here. Parenthesis.
Parentheses.
Parentheses.
Parentheses. No, I was just kind of being funny and by saying parenthesis on my way to the restaurant. But
Raunt.
Okay. It says it was written in a bakery. Cupcakes, or it says cakes, 66 cents. Upside down cakes, 99 cents. That made me guffaw a little bit.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. You got to think about it. Mona Lisa was framed. When I read that, I'm like, huh? Oh, yeah.
Well,
So,
shouldn't it be Mona Lisa is framed?
Yes, that's what I think.
She's still framed, right?
What about? Sorry, graffiti should be obscene and not heard.
Again, well played.
My job is such a closely guarded secret. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Maybe a lot of people could say that.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, just a historical reference here that there were thousands of people who worked on the Manhattan Project, which created the atomic bomb. And very few, if any, of those thousands of people knew what they were working on.
They just knew they were doing little nuclear equations and some testing but they had no idea what.
Right. So that is a true life example of my job is so secret, I don't even know what I'm doing.
That's very poignant, man. That's never thought about that, but can you imagine that being so compartmentalized? You have no idea.
Right.
All right, let me continue. Had to wet mine whistle there.
We're all about teaching. We're all about all about learning you things.
That book learning. I'd give my left arm to be ambidextrous. Someone wrote. Now this just sounds like a quote, but they swear that it was written on a wall. But it says, "Charm is telling someone to go to hell in such a way that they look forward to the trip."
I've always, and again, I delve off into seriousness here, that I think that is the sign of good leadership. When you can tell someone something they don't want to hear and they appreciate hearing it.
Or a very slick salesman.
True, that too.
But excuse me. Be alert. We need lots of alerts. Now that's the absurd kind of graffiti that I appreciate.
So what is alert? Is alert actually a thing?
No, it sounds like something from Dr. Seuss, but the alerts and the yep yaps. All right. Now you're gonna have to help me with this one. I might be a little bit obtuse on this one. I had this one circled because I need an explanation, and I didn't try not to think about it. Every day, 10 people die on bicycle. 6, seriously.
Is bicycle singular?
Is
So read it again.
every day 10 people die on a bicycle. 6, seriously. Now, is it saying that just kidding, 10 people don't die a day, it's really 6? Is that what they're getting at?
I don't know.
Let's see, that one stumped me.
Yeah. So Howard here with I saw a sign that said the worst walk I ever took was down the aisle. Now, Howard, you certainly wouldn't say that about Danielle, would you? I think she'd have an issue with that. So Savannah said John asked about the no shirt, no shoes, no service. If she could not go around without pants, he was told that those are optional because some guys wear shorts. So back at you.
There you go.
Miss Wilson, speaking of deeper meanings, I bet you're a lobster alludes to Gertrude Stein's a rose is a rose is a rose, which means things are what they are.
There's deepness.
Yeah.
I bet you did not come here tonight expecting to hear Gertrude Stein quoted.
Nah, you never
Thank you,
know
Miss
what you're
Wilson.
never know what you're going to hear on this show.
Next there will be a Saki or an O. Henry quote.
Saki. I don't do poems.
we had a schoolmate that famously, when asked to write a poem or read or dissect it, just stood up and said, "I don't do poems, BOEMS."
That was not when you were there, Miss Wilson. That was before.
No, that was pre Miss Wilson.
Yeah. Joey makes a good
Joey.
point. You don't hear young baby girls named Gertrude anymore.
Yeah, not many.
These names tend to come back around, though.
But, like Eunice and Ethel, Gertrude.
Flossie.
I knew you were going to go with the Flossie. That has been your go-to for an elderly name for years.
Flossie's my favorite old lady name.
But I've never run across it. There has to be more than one. There has to be Flossie out there because Matt Young, hello.
Matt Young of the world-renowned Hydra Storm band. I don't know if you saw that, Brady. Matt has created a band along with some other people named Hydra Storm. Even got Kevin Robinson from Channel 5 to do a promo for them. It was outstanding. I need to know how you got that done.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, he had his little radar up. There's a Hydra Storm hitting Adams County. It was very intriguing.
There you go.
Joey Joey says there's a person at his work named Flossie.
Get out.
You gotta get Flossie on the show. Tell her it's my favorite. Is she an old lady? I don't know what old is. I guess older than me.
Yeah. A seasoned citizen.
A seasoned citizen, exactly. Continue.
Okay. This is about now. I want to say two things about this one. I appreciate this person's attention to language, and but I want to know how in the heck they had time to spell this out quickly and properly while committing an act of graffiti. So here we go. This one says, "Dancing is the perpendicular expression of a horizontal desire."
especially dancing nowadays.
Yeah, really. Um, so like, it is one of those things that honestly, we've all seen the ones that we can't repeat on here, and those will get people temporarily laughing. But come on, come on. I still remember 30 years later, a lobster's a lobster's a lobster.
Yeah.
Or another piece of Moorhead greatness. Don't worry, Eric. Roses are red, violets are purple. Her smile is sweet like maple syrup.
Also near the music building. So I guess that's
Yeah.
what music majors do. They're not
No,
literature majors.
it was in the English building, but the thing about it, that had to set some English major that was like the grammar Nazi type. That had to set them on edge.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised it lasted on the wall.
This one says, I'm self-employed and my boss is still a jerk.
Yep. So Joey says Flossie is in her 30s, but he's never met her, but one of his friends knows her. So yeah. See, I told you these names cycle back around. Maybe it's a family name. Maybe her grandma was named Flossie.
Yeah, and we're not breaking any new ground here, but people have said, when we're in our 70s, 80s, and 90s, will people think of like Grandma Tiffany and Grandma Madison? And as they're sitting there, oh, that's such an old person name, right, Eunice?
Yeah. Grandpa Schuyler.
Great Grandpa Brody. But oh.
And far be it from me to make fun of anyone's first name. I mean, I'm ARIC, so what right do I have?
Well, I mean, my name is pretty full. I mean, it's BRADY. There's not a lot that could go wrong with that. But whenever I get a telemarket call from an English as second language people from different continents, I always get is Brady Liming there?
No, I always say that's the best part of my name. If someone calls and asks if Auric ficus is there, nope. No one by that name.
It's a rare plant species that only blooms in the jungles of Indonesia, the Auric ficus.
No, you find it in an Indonesian office building.
Yeah, right by Brady Liming. But well, I also did something stupid in high school my junior year. So I took
one thing.
Well, that's true. Sorry, maybe two. But we took the ACT my junior, and you had to fill out the bubble forms.
Yep.
For 5 years, I would get college literature and other mailings of the educational ilk for Braddock sliming because I actually went one too far and put BR80X.
That sounds like a cleaning agent or something. Braddock's.
Or
maybe an intestinal distress medication. Oh,
Braddock's.
My stomach hurts. I need to take my Braddock's.
My Braddock's. Make us. Oh man. But anyway, okay, just to let you know how adept we are here on Play It By Ear. We just spent 30 minutes talking about graffiti.
Yes. Well, probably more so like 22, 23, but
20.
Still.
Wait a minute, what's that? Howard McClain and oh my gosh.
Howard says you are using a gender-based moniker in the future will be grand they or grand them. Well, I won't comment on that.
I will not comment on it, but it is a very astute observation.
It is.
But we had oh shoot. Have you ever seen the graffiti like that somebody loves so and so and then somebody puts a postscript on it? It's like just say like Bill loves Heather until Ashley comes around, or that they usually they put this postscript to it. I've seen some pretty good takes on that.
You know, it's funny you say that because not about the actual graffiti itself, but you said Bill and Heather. Our tech coordinator at Bill at the school is named Bill, and his wife is named Heather. That's funny,
Ooh,
but
weird.
yeah.
Just hope. Please tell me there's no Ashley. That's that might get.
Joey. Pronoun jokes. Them never saw they coming. Again,
Joey,
I
that
will
was
not.
witty.
Again, I will not comment.
We're having fun with language here, okay?
Yes.
That's what we do here. That's what we are.
It's kind of the theme of the night, actually.
It is kind of the theme of the night that's coming right up, Eric. I'll let you go ahead and seg into that.
Oh, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. All right. That was quick by our standards.
It's quick by our standards, but I was kind of feeling quick. It's one of those things that get you thinking. It's one we're not going to dive into because I had the feeling that this next one we are going to be diving into it big time.
Yeah, could be. All right. So once again, visit our website, www.playitbyyourpodcast.com. And you will find many different things about our show. No, the show's not over, Joey. We're in the middle. This is halftime. Again, you'll find many different things about our show. You can order a shirt. So if you go to the website, click on the store link at the top of the page, scroll down, click on the picture of the T-shirt, and you can go and buy yourself a Play It By Ear T-shirt, the softest
Please
T-shirt
do.
you will ever own that is not made out of goat hair.
Or armadillo fuzz that's been shaven off the armor.
Shaven and shorn. All right. So, as I said, the linguistics is a theme on the Play It By Ear podcast tonight. My topic, and we've had many topics on language. Haven't done one in a while. We did quite a few there at the beginning of our we're episode 110 now. So if you look in the first 30 episodes or so, you'll see a lot of language topics. We haven't done one in a while. So kind of apropos that we've done a couple here tonight. But my topic, and Joey lives in northern Ohio up by Cleveland. We here in southern Ohio are Cincinnati's a different place in Ohio because it's kind of southern, it's kind of northern, it's kind of midwestern, it's not necessarily eastern, but there's all kinds of different things going on as far as culture and language. And so we use a lot of southern language here that other people who are outside of the area may not necessarily understand, but it's kind of woven into how we speak. So my topic, southern phrases that others need a dictionary for.
You don't say.
Yeah, right. So the first one here, and one thing about southern people is in open conversation, they're very polite. Now, whatever they say may not be polite at its meaning, but they will say words that sound polite upon first blush, but thinking on it later may not be so polite. So my first one here is the quote, "Aren't you precious?"
As opposed to are you semi-precious like a lapis lazuli or turquoise?
Aren't you precious tends to be sarcastic. So those of you who are not attuned to Southern language, if someone says, "Are you precious?" generally they're kind of making fun of you. For example, so you are in conversation, you call someone else dumb. Now, if one of the other people in the conversation actually thinks you are dumb, they may say something to the effect of, Oh, you called someone dumb, aren't you precious? So again, at its face, it kind of sounds like a compliment, but it's really not. It's like,
But it's really not.
yeah, maybe you should just keep your mouth shut, sort of thing. All right, so the next one, reckon. The word reckon. We reckon. I reckon. Yes. We reckon it's time to teach you about the word reckon. If you're having a conversation with someone and you give your thoughts and opinions, there's chances are that the other person will chime in. They kick off their chiming in with, well, I reckon. In most cases, the word reckon would replace the words
I am inclined to believe.
I've inclined to believe, right? So maybe back east, that's what they would say, but in the South, well, I reckon that you you have no sense in your head, you had no brains in your head, or something along those lines.
Because like reckoning, that means kind of like, a closure or an end, usually bad.
Right.
So are they saying they're closing out like I reckon, like I'm bringing a reckoning? I wonder where that comes from.
I don't know. And we said it takes the place of I believe. It could also take the place of I imagine, I suppose, and I think. So reckon can mean all of those things.
Pretty.
And again, it's kind of interwoven in how we talk here. It's not unusual to hear people say, well, I reckon this or reckon that. But, people may get addicted to it if they start using it. So here's one I haven't heard. And someone may help me out with this one. See to Christmas. And that's SEE to Christmas. Have you ever heard of that one?
Maybe, but I see to Christmas. Like if I keep this cough, I might not see to Christmas.
I don't know. I'll read the description here. You'd have to have some type of supervision to be able to see to Christmas. Luckily, that's not what this phrase means. If you're a woman and you go to a family event wearing a skirt that might be a little short, then chances are you might hear this slang. You think your outfit is perfectly fine until your grandmother sees it. That's when she flares her nostrils, slightly offended at the length of your skirt, and says she can see to Christmas. All that means is that your garment might be a little too revealing.
Oh, I'm gonna read. Like they could see the mistletoe, or but oh my gosh, I meant to say. Yeah, I can't even think of why Christmas.
It's at the end of the
Why
year.
not?
I don't know.
New Year's. See, I think I could see to New Year's because that would be applicable, whatever time of year it was.
I don't know.
So just throwing that out there.
So audience is chiming in. Becky chimes in with nary airy, buddy. I've heard that one. I've heard that one before. Never anybody, I believe, is what that is supposed to mean. But nary airy, body. Yeah. As a tie into the first one we talked about, aren't you precious? Bless your heart. Also, a kind of another phrase that can be used in similar fashion. If someone says "bless your heart,"
usually with a tap on the cheek, like "bless your heart,"
or a little tap on the head. Bless your heart. Yeah. Miss Wilson says, I thought I reckon is like I figure. So yeah, all those different things together. All right. So here's another one I haven't heard. Being ugly.
Huh?
Being ugly.
Oh, yeah. Unpleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
so,
now stop saying things like that. There's no point of being ugly with everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
My mother says that.
well, yeah. So your mother is from Ripley, which is on the Ohio River. A lot of
Yeah.
in our particular county, there's a lot more Southern slang probably in uh, Ripley Ripley language than even northern part of the county here.
Yeah.
But so yeah, you probably hear some things down there that you wouldn't hear up here necessarily. But so being ugly, um, if you're being ugly, you're acting unacceptably, whatever
Yeah.
that may be. Similar to when you get hungry and you start to have an attitude with people, that's when you're being ugly. Now we sometimes might use the word hangry with that.
Ugly.
So Howard says he's heard being ugly. It's a Kaiser thing. It's his wife's maiden name. All right, the next one. I have heard this one. Pretty as a peach.
Yes. Yes.
All
I'm
right,
sure uttered by a southerner in a seersucker or white linen suit.
Sure.
Yo, pretty. I'll say you're pretty as a peach. Kind of like.
So sounding like Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah, so sometimes a woman might look dashing to the eye and you wish to compliment her. Sure, a simple "you look nice" or "how beautiful" can suffice. But in the South, there's a different phrase. She looks pretty as a peach. Obviously
But
not
there's
to
always
be.
that possibility that underneath she's the pits.
Ha ha ha. Now, I don't know if there's any connection here, but the peach emoji elicits a connotation. I won't go into it, but I don't know if it ties into this little phrase or not. But um, yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
Oh man.
All right, the next one I've used myself quite a bit actually. Hissy fit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
So this phrase, I don't know if it's really totally Southern. I think it's probably more widespread than just that. But you ever seen a young kid throw a temper tantrum? You say they're throwing a hissy fit.
My mother, if she is listening, once the spare bedroom that used to be my sister's bedroom for my nieces and nephews and Randlin and everybody. She said, "Now don't." If they would get put in timeout, she would send them to the hiss fit room. So there is a hiss fit room. Have you ever thought about what a hiss fit is?
No.
It cats, like when they're. That's what a hiss fit is, isn't it?
That's true. That's true. I never thought about it.
I just thought about that right this second.
Well, I mean, I've never heard that's where it comes from, but
Makes sense, doesn't it?
It makes perfect sense. All right, Howard. Opposite of pretty as a peach is uglier than a mud fence. I've heard that one.
That's practical because a mud fence would not be appealing to the eye. Looked like you had an ant problem.
Rodney, welcome. Plum crazy, he says. That is another one.
Plum crazy, nectarine nuts.
Plum crazy. All right. So is someone in your life getting a little too cocky? You may call them too big for their britches. Now, I honestly, in thinking about this one, I don't know. I mean, is having tight pants like is that a point of being too proud? I mean, I think if my pants are tight, I'm not proud of that.
If my pants are too tight, I'm just uncomfortable, which would lead to a hiss fit.
And yes, Smothered Liming is listening. She says, yes, a few of them ended up in that hiss fit room. Now, was there a hiss fit room, Linda, Mom, when Brady was young? Was Brady ever sent to the
I was without hiss.
Oh, you were not hiss free. I've seen you have hissy fits. All right, so Southerners typically call their undergarments and pants britches. If you hear the phrase "you're too big for your britches," that doesn't mean you're overweight at all, unless the person is disrespectful. Instead, it means someone might be getting ahead of themselves. Again, I don't know how that ties in.
I think I just figured it out.
Tell me.
So, okay, hold on. I might have it the opposite logic. Crud. Okay. Well, maybe it's like a child that is trying to act like an adult
But
and pull rank.
wouldn't they be too small for their britches in that
No,
case?
because they're out punching their weight class. They're out britchesing their britch size.
But I thought they were trying to wear adult britches.
Correct. Correct. So they're trying to wear an adult one, which makes them too big for the ones that are age appropriate for them. Are you following?
No, I think
Okay.
it was the opposite. They would be too small for the adult britches.
No, but they think that they belong in adult britches, but they're in infant britch or smaller britches. So you are too big for your britches, which means like you are delusional in the clout that you carry.
I don't see it, but I'll give you your right to that logic. I don't see it.
I need a flow chart. So
that does call for a flow chart. All right, the next one. This is a classic from my dad.
oh no.
I have
Get up
not
and move.
yeah, right. So Miss Wilson confirms your thoughts about the britches. Like I said, I don't see it, but yeah.
You can't see me from the waist down, but if you could, I have my left hand on my hip and my left foot perched above a barrel, and I'm striking that Captain Morgan ha pose.
You're extremely too large for your britches right now. All right, so again, this next one is a classic from my father. Uses it quite a bit. I've used it upon occasion. Full as a tick. We all know that feeling of getting too full after eating a delicious meal. You feel it even more if it's a home cooked meal, because who cooks better than your parents? Your belly's on the verge of blowing up. So what do you say? I'm as full as a tick.
Shouldn't they include the rest of it? I'm as full as a tick that's actually become engorged off a femoral artery or something. For those really.
I'm as full as a tick that just gave someone Lyme disease.
Oh.
If you don't live in tick country, after they enjoy a healthy dose of blood, they can quickly balloon up. Might not be the most inviting thing to visualize, but is accurate.
It is a valid analogy, but
all right. So this next one, again, probably a little bit more widespread than just the South. Hold your horses.
Restrain thy equines.
That obviously does not mean to go to the barn and grab your equines. Common phrase that might throw you off guard. But very simply, if you got the horses running out of control, you're going very fast. Pull the reins, hold the horses, slow down. Don't get anxious. Don't be impatient.
Simmer down, sea bass.
Simmer down. Yeah, sea bass. All right, so here's the next one. Again, I use this one quite a bit myself, although I say a little bit longer version than this. The quote here is, "If the creek don't rise." Now, what I generally say is, "Lord willing, and the creek don't rise." Now you're making a face like you've never heard that.
I don't think I have.
If you've never heard that, I just cannot believe it. All right, so someone says to you, "Have a good day." All right, and you say, "Lord willing, and the creek don't rise," because the creek rising is a bad thing. So I'm going to have a good day, Lord willing.
Okay.
And the creek don't rise.
That sounds like it should be cloud. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Yeah.
It's kind of got that feel to it.
Yeah. A little Southern gospel feel to it.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of read the description here. There's a picture of two gentlemen, look like they're sitting in a park, maybe playing checkers or something. Say they meet every Tuesday at the same time, but one of them wishes to do something on the upcoming Thursday. The other might have plans that night with his nephew, but isn't in stone yet. That's when he'll say, "Well, Jim, if the creek don't rise, I'll be there." It's just slang for "we'll see what I can do." So that's a little bit different variation of what I'm thinking.
That's totally two different.
It is. And I didn't even read the description until I just did right there. But
Yeah.
I don't use it that way, but I can see the purpose.
Hmm.
But the creek don't rise can change your plans. I guess that's what that means.
What if there's a drought?
Well, then that's okay.
But if it rises from nothing, that would be okay. So we got to get into the metrics of what kind of creek bank.
Okay, so now I'm going to get off on the tangent. So, and I think we probably mentioned this on this show before, but we had a classmate in elementary school who tried to argue the point that a creek and a crick were two different types of waterways, that a crick was smaller than a creek.
And a crook is smaller still.
I mean, even in third grade, I said, "Nah, that doesn't make sense."
No, that false.
Vrai ou faux? Faux.
Faux.
That was later on in the educational career. All right, so next, and Brady, I know you have some background on this word. You've probably shared before. The ever popular Southern term that they like to use against us Northern folk, "You're a Yankee." So, Brady, you can give the background etymology of this word.
Yeah. Well, not the etymology, but I could tell you about my experience with it. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, yeah, go ahead with that. But I'll
tell
you what.
I know what you're talking about.
You know the etymology of this word. So
okay, I do know the etymology of the word, but first off, but before I thought you were talking about the time, like my family went to the same place every summer in St. Augustine, Florida, to on vacation every year, and there were regulars, just like same people, same time, but there was a group of Georgia Utes that referred to me as a Yankee on more than one occasion, like legit. It was a pejorative, like big time, like well, you Yankees, and it's like something from a bad TV show, but it happened to me.
Well, now what if you were called a carpetbagger? That'd been worse yet.
A carpetbagger. That's only if I would go there and try to take over the homeowners association or something, where we stayed. But that carpetbagger.
All right.
Why is everything sounding like Foghorn Leghorn?
So, since we're all about teaching and learning on this show, a carpetbagger was a person from the North after the Civil War who had moved to the South trying to basically make money. Exploit. Yes, good word. Exploit the reconstructing Southerners through different schemes and scams and such. So they are not held in very high regard.
Oh, I guess I got to tell the etymology now.
Yes, you got to tell the etymology.
Okay, so sorry, getting all history and social studies geeky. Don't tune out. I promise, it's kind of cool. But anyway, the British, after they took over New York, in the 1700s, they had an unflattering term for the Dutch settlers that founded it, and because of their fondness for cheese, they would call the Dutch in an insulting way, kind of like redneck, but it was a John Cheese. And so John Cheese was an insult. And then the Dutch picked it up, and when they figured it out, they would throw it right back at him. And that's where it became Jan Kees, which was the Dutch for John Cheese. So that, Paul Harvey told this story. It has to be true.
Absolutely.
So anyway, the New York John Cheeses.
Yes. All right, next one. Over yonder. Use that one upon occasion.
Yeah.
So What's that over there? Over where? Over yonder.
I don't think I've ever used yonder in a not trying to be funny way.
True. Yeah, I've never used yonder seriously.
And if I do use yonder, I have to do the exaggerated over yonder. Like you're
Like foghorn leghorn.
Yeah. I see. I see over yonder.
The word yonder might not be a phrase you're used to, but used in the correct context, it isn't tough to decipher. Yeah, over there.
Yeah.
Friendly point attached to the phrase to aid in which direction to where yonder is. So you point as you say yonder. That generally helps the situation. All right, here's another one. I don't know, again, if this is kind of limited to the South. Maybe that's where it got its start. Barking up the wrong tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're barking up the wrong tree, you basically have the wrong idea about something. No, that's not right. You're barking up the wrong tree. I'm assuming this is based upon like coon hunting dogs.
Hunting, yes. Fox hunting and coon hunting. But if it was fox hunting, it'd be like you're barking up the wrong tree. Because it'd be the British kind.
But, I mean, fox, they don't scamper up trees, do they?
No, they don't, actually, now that I think about it.
So I think it would have to be a coon hunting dog.
Get them raccoons.
Yeah, my dad was a coon hunter, and I went a few times. It really wasn't my gig, but
I mean, Eric, there are a few places I think I could see. I would sooner see you in a rocking chair at a quilting bee before I saw you coon hunting.
It's bad. I mean, to go out at night, dressed up in like jeans and all that, with boots on, like wading boots, and walking through creeks and up and down hills and chasing dogs around it. It's just not my. I mean, there are people
Sounds like my morning if Pepper gets off the leash.
Some people like that. All power to them, but not really my gig. So yeah, I would guess barking up the wrong tree. Like I said, I don't know of any other animals that are tree. That's the terminology it's used by coon hunters.
Maybe
the dog is treeing the coon.
Well, it could be treeing a cat too, I guess, but we don't have to think the dog could just be incorrect about which tree the cat went up, so it is barking up the wrong tree.
It could very well be.
The dog has made an error.
If you think I'm going to give you $100, then you're barking up the wrong tree.
What would somebody do if you said that and they just dropped to all fours and start going? How disturbing would that be? I might have to give them the $100.
I triple dog dare you to do that to somebody. All right, the next one. Again, I've used the word never in a serious way. Cattywampus. And I think this is one of the words we talked about early on in the show, because there was another term you used. And again, this is your mother used the word, and I think she heard that actually in her youth in Ripley.
Doug's mother is the one that brought up cattywampus, and I've not heard of that. I've heard of catty cornered. So I think that's what we talked about this in a previous episode back in the day. Is there a difference between being catty cornered or cattywampus, and what qualifies as a wampus?
Well, now there's also catty corner and kitty corner.
But there is no kitty wampus.
Well, no. My wife uses the term kitty corner. Yeah, I don't know if that's a northern thing.
Is it Kitty like a kitty corner, or a Kiddie that's a kitty corner?
No, Kitty.
Okay.
It's in a cat.
Well, now here's the interesting referring back to another episode, there was a high school with the unusual nickname, the Wampus Cats.
Yes.
So do the Wampus Cats put their opponent Cattywampus?
Cattywampus, yes.
So what is a wampus?
All right, so
I know what swampus is.
Is that related to swamp ass? All right. So when you first read this word and you hear it, you might be thinking it's ridiculous. The more you say it, however, you want to indulge it even more because it sounds so fun. Cattywampus has nothing to do with cats. It means that something is sideways or out of sorts. If you have a painting in your living room and it tilts a little to the right, a southerner will say it's quite cattywampus and you should straighten it.
Oh.
And I don't know what a wampus is. And this has nothing to do with cats. So I don't know.
You get a hold of us, he's going to whomp us.
All right. So here's the next one. I've heard this in a different iteration, which probably doesn't meet our TV 14 standards. Caught you mid-drink.
You did.
So this iteration of the quote is sweating more than a sinner in church. Now, again, I've heard different versions of this. Speaking of the oldest profession and a term used by a practitioner of such, that this practitioner of the oldest profession is in church sweating. But this particular version, sweating more than a sinner in church. Now, we're all sinners. Do I use sweat in church? But all right. So the sun can be rude to the inhabitants of the earth. We didn't ask for it to feel like we're slowly descending into the pit of an active volcano. Maybe the air conditioner just broke, or it's the hottest day of the summer and you're stuck inside. In any of those scenarios, you will be sweating more than a sinner in church. That is a Southern phrase that implies those who do no good feel the heat when they go to church. Hence, the practitioner of the world's oldest profession.
Miss Wilson's bringing the information.
She is. Her hometown was famous for the National Coon Dog Trials. So did any of those coon dogs ever succeed? That's the question.
Or were they found guilty or not guilty?
Yeah.
Fido, you've been charged with being a coon dog. I'm just a house pet.
Guilty. She also says that Catty Corner and Kitty Corner are directional, but Cattywampus is all goofed up. So yeah.
Please put the end table kitty corner, but if you don't, it'll be cattywampus. I see where you're going there.
Yeah. Hey, that coffee table is cattywampus. Put it at the kitty corner. All right. The next one, again, I'm not sure that this is directly attached to the South. I think this is probably more widespread. Till the cows come home. All right. So you may not own a farm. Most of us don't. But the phrase till the cows come home can still apply to you. If someone who usually takes a long time tells you he or she will be right back, deep down you know that's not the case. You'll be waiting till the cows come home for that person. Southern phrase implies that your wait time won't be short and that you should be prepared to do something else in the meantime.
So the cows do you think they were a carousing sort, that they didn't want to come home? Like there was one particular bunch of cows that would just not come back? Or is this a problem in general with cattle?
Or was this an intelligence issue or lack thereof?
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, again, I think that particular phrase is used well outside the South as well. So yeah, Miss Wilson, those dogs barked up a lot of trees. Yeah. What is your hometown?
It's Defiance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up north somewhere, isn't it?
For those who are not from Ohio, there's a town called Defiance. So we weren't chastising her on not coming with the information.
Yes, I defy you to go to Defiance.
Wonder what the temperament of those original settlers were. That's like,
yes, they were oppositional defiant.
Don't put it down the road from unity.
Oh no, No. She's from Kenton.
Oh, Kenton. That's right. That's right.
Home of the Mauks, Ben Mauck and Matty Mauck, the two leading yardage quarterbacks in Ohio High School Athletic Association history.
Daggone.
There's a little one for you. Ben Mauck played for the UC Bearcats a few years back.
Yep.
Like I said, we're all about learning here, teaching and learning. All right, so next one. I don't know if I've ever used this one. I don't know if I've ever heard this one.
Ooh.
No bigger than a minnow in a fish pond.
Okay, I know minnows by nature are supposed to be small, but like, what if the fish pond is like 2 feet wide? I think it's relative to the size of the body of water.
All right, so
A
Southerners
Harish pond.
Harish. Fist pond.
Fist pond.
Southerners like metaphors and euphemisms. This phrase is pretty straightforward, but could be confusing. If you're telling a story and need to describe something small, what would you say? If you're from the South, you would say, it was no bigger than a minnow in a fish pond. The goal when fishing is to get something of decent size, but when you reel in some of those minnows that pale in comparison to the bass. So, yeah. Miss Wilson's first teaching years were in Defiance, the place, not an attitude. Was there defiance in your classroom in Defiance? That's the question. All right, here's the next one. I certainly would think that this probably started in the South, but again, has more widespread than that. 3 sheets to the wind. So I have not read the description of this, but I believe it refers to a sailboat.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know,
Meaning they're
very-
going full speed
Yeah.
to the deep.
Right. All right. So if you've gotten drunk before, more than likely this phrase could have applied to you. When you've had one too many drinks, but you swear to your friends that you'll be fine, they may not agree. 10 minutes later, you're standing on the bar asking for the bartender's number. You for sure had too much alcohol, and the phrase 3 sheets to the wind certainly applies. The phrase has nautical roots, but is used commonly in the South today. A sheet is a rope that is unmoored and is flailing about wildly in the wind, just like a drunk person. I did not know that part.
I did not.
I thought the sheet was the sail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just learned something there.
Yeah, it should have been 3 sheets to the wind.
Yes. But if you got 3 ropes flailing around, I mean, that's probably not a good thing. All right. The next phrase is great warning for those who are unaware. And again, this, I believe, is used outside of the South as well as in the South. Madder than a wet hen. Have you ever encountered a wet hen, Brady?
I have not. Moist, dry, or wet? None. I have not. I encounter hens not too much. So,
but the ones you probably encountered have been dry, not wet.
Yes.
And I guess chickens generally do not have water near their pen, or
they are not a waterfowl.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not near their coop. All right,
Cook.
so if you hear a little, and this phrase generally applies to women. Madder than wet hen, you shouldn't press any of her buttons if you hear that. If she's referred to that. No telling what she's capable of doing when enraged.
So are wet roosters like equally as belligerent?
I don't know. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
You would really make him really mad. Say, hell hath no fury like a wet hen.
All right, so many of us have heard this next one. Do you really know what it means? Again, I've used this, never in a serious manner. There are people who use it in a serious manner, however. Fixin' to. Yes. Has anyone ever told you to do something that you already planned on doing? Happens all the time. Generally happens with a spouse, or when you were younger, your parents. If you want to respond to that, you say, I'm fixing to. I'm getting ready to. I'm fixing to do the dishes and go on a 6-mile run. I'm
I counter with if it was if a true Southerner is saying it, it must be uh let off with a I'm a.
I'm a fixing to. Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
Yes. Apostrophes or no apostrophes or just IMA? Is there I am apostrophe A or IMA?
I don't know.
Yes.
Until Ima Jones married Mr. Fixin, and then
And became I'm a fixin'.
the reason I said that there, and this is confirmed. A family friend of ours worked in Kentucky at a bank, and there was an I'm a pig.
That'd be awful.
Yeah, it'd be awful. Yeah.
All right. Here's another one. Certainly you hear it in the South quite a bit. I believe it's probably used outside of there as well. A mind to.
Like you've got the brain in the head to think of something to like. I've got a mind to put a security camera in after my house got robbed. Like that kind of deal.
I have a mind to go to Tom's house to help him work on his car, but I'm not sure when. So I'm thinking about it. Don't know when I'm going to do it, but it's in my thoughts.
Oh, if I ever say I got a mind to be very, very afraid.
All right. So here's another one you hear quite a bit around here. And I'm sure outside of the South as well. Piddle. You're piddling around. You're procrastinating. You're doing things slower than you need to. You're lazy. You're piddling around.
Piddling.
Piddling.
Is that like a another euphemism which is close to, does it mean like urinating? Like,
well, I've
piddled?
I've heard it used, I think, as urinating. Do you have to piddle? Did you piddle?
Or the dog piddled on the floor. So if one is piddling around, are they whizzing around, like indiscriminately? Is that what it?
Yeah.
Taking your time because you're urinating in the lawn. You're piddling around.
Piddling around. All right.
Never parsed the piddle before.
Next one again, here fairly commonly around here, probably in other places as well. Happy as a pig in mud.
I've also heard a different iteration of that, which makes you question. No, feces. Happier than a pig in squat. Right.
So Brady, you are the zoologist of our little group here. Why do pigs waller around in mud? There's another Southern word, waller around.
I can tell you, because pigs sunburn, like legit, and they have thin hairs, so they have nothing to keep their top side from becoming bacon. So they roll around in the mud to cool and block the sun's light from their skin.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I also...
You're wrong.
Pigs don't sweat, do they? Like part of rolling around in the mud is to cause evaporation to cool themselves.
Yeah. I think you're correct. I know dogs don't sweat, but I think pigs do not perspire either.
Did I actually just stump you on a zoology issue?
You did. I know this, but I have forgotten this.
All right. So, why are pigs happy in mud? That's why. So if someone says happy as a pig in mud, that means they're ecstatic. They're as happy as they can be. All right. So here's another dog phrase.
Or
dog won't hunt. So you hear this phrase, that dog won't hunt.
Is it meaning that the dog is of not so good intellect, or is it just saying the dog is lazy and won't get off the porch?
The dog is lazy. The dog will not work. That idea will not work. That dog will not hunt. So his job is to go find raccoons, birds, and other small animals. And if the dog will not do that,
Partridges,
yes,
pheasants.
yeah, if that dog won't hunt, dog is lazy, dog will not work. All right. Here's one. I'm not sure if I've ever used it in a serious way. I'm tending to think I haven't. If I had my druthers.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm going to say.
So there was a restaurant when we were young called Druthers.
It replaced the Dairy Queen,
Dairy Queen, yes.
which was a bee mascot.
No, yeah, no, it wasn't Dairy Queen, was it? It was
Burger Queen. Burger Queen.
Burger Queen, yes. Yes, there is a Dairy Queen.
Yeah,
yes.
Not DQ. BQ.
Yeah, BQ. Burger Queen, yes.
The other Burger Monarch.
Which, and seems like I remember when we were young and the Burger Queen went in at Georgetown and it was miscommunicated. Hey, they're getting a Burger King in Georgetown.
I know.
A Burger Queen. It was like the it was like the generic
McDonald's and McDowell's. We had the golden arcs. So our Burger Monarch has the whoopee or the whooper.
So yeah, the Burger Queen. I guess it was across maybe the whole company. I don't know how many Burger Queens there were in the world, but changed its name to Druthers. And the catchphrase was, Brady,
I'd rather starve.
Maybe that's what we said, but the catchphrase, I'd rather go to Druthers restaurant. Was the catchphrase.
Yeah, that's when in 3rd or 4th grade at Druthers in Georgetown, I had a fly frozen in my ice cube.
and you would consume Druthers no more after that.
And I would have been little. I mean, we're talking pre-5th grade when the switch happened, but I do remember thinking Burger Queen was much better than Druthers.
So the 2 worst restaurant fails in your life have been the fly frozen in your ice cube at Druthers and the ashy Boston shake.
Boston shake. Or not to be confused with the many times where I order a quarter pounder with cheese plain and it'll have some kind of white death put on it. Some kind of ick on it.
The quarter pounder with cheese did not have white death on it. It had ketchup and mustard. There was no mayo on a quarter pounder with cheese. That is correct, Miss Wilson. There used to be a Druthers in West Union as well. And when it went in the local restaurant, owners were very upset. So, yeah. I don't know if Druthers was any more well received in West Union than it was in Georgetown. Yeah. All right. So if I had my druthers means if I had my way. So if I had my druthers, I would do this.
My rathers.
Yes. Yes.
My I would rathers. My.
Yes. If I had my druthers, I'd be a millionaire. Yeah. If I had my druthers, this party would be over and I'd be in bed. All right. Here's another one. And again, I think probably outside the South, but you certainly do hear it quite a bit around here. And I think I do use this in a serious way. All get out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm as hungry as all get out.
What is getting out of where?
So this is the ultimate. This is the extreme. I'm as hungry as I can be. I'm as hungry as all get out.
Or it's hot as all get out.
And anything can be all get out. That concert was as good as all get out.
What an absurd.
That girl is as attractive as all get out. Anything can be as all
Not
get
some get out. All get out.
Yes, it's the maximum. It's the ultimate. It's the this next one. I looked and I got sidetracked in my brain. And again, I've used this term. I've not used it in seriousness. Gumption. I love the word gumption. the word gumption has been used by many people, originated in the South. What do you think gumption means, Brady?
I mean, I know how it's used. Your get up and go or your motivation.
Yes.
They don't have the gumption to get up and move their lazy butt off the porch.
Now, according to this, gumption, if someone tells you have gumption, it means you are bold and courageous.
Ooh,
I never really took it that way. I'm like you,
no,
kind of. You are not lazy. You are willing to. You have gumption to go and do anything, or you don't have the gumption, which means you're a lout. You're laying there. You do nothing.
you're
Have no
a
gumption.
laggard,
A laggard.
a sluggard. Anything with an "erd" on the end of it.
Now, gumption is generally not used in a negative way. I mean, it's generally positive, but it can be used in a negative way.
Pa. I've mostly heard it in a negative way.
Well, because we use it in jest, I think. Oh, here, if you were to, on this next one, if you were to give a prototypical Southern phrase, I'm going to ask you the question. Aside from the ones we've already gone through here, if I were to ask you, Brady, what is the prototypical Southern phrase that is, it could be a something that is thought to be very Southern, but it's not something everyone necessarily uses. But
Y'all?
That's a good one. Not this one, though. Think again. I'm guessing you get it within the first 2 or 3 guesses.
Oh, you got me on the spot, man.
Well, okay. I will give you one word. This is not part of the phrase, but I'll say the word and I bet you get it.
Okay.
Well. Okay. Think of foghorn leghornish. Well.
Sorry. Oh, well, I do declare.
without the do, yeah. I declare.
I do declare.
All right. So always at the beginning of a sentence, I declare. I do declare.
I do declare.
You can basically use it in any sentence. But what it means is you strongly
closing the boar's nest.
You strongly believe in whatever it is you're talking about. I do declare. It is really hot today. I do declare. That's some good chicken you've cooked. Means it's really good chicken. All right. Here's the next one. I think this one is probably really Southern. I've never heard it used around here. Probably because this particular crop is not grown around here. Living in high cotton. Ever heard that one?
The God's high. I know what else crop they're growing beside of it.
Yeah, that's probably the cash crop now.
Yeah. Living in high cotton.
So what do you think that means?
I've never heard this, so I'm going to guess. If the cotton is high, it means it's a good crop. And if it's a good cotton crop, you're wealthy. So it's kind of like living high on the hog.
Well done. So if someone says you're living in high cotton, that means they are feeling financially secure or wealthy. So if you move to a new job, you get a raise. I'm living in high
cotton. They're in high cotton.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. Here's another one. Definitely a Southern phrase. Not necessarily used totally in the South. Hush your mouth.
I'll see.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Just because shut up would be very impolite for Southern. So hush your mouth.
Hush your mouth. Put a sock in it. Be quiet.
Clothesline orifice.
Yes, exactly. Generally, you've heard that one somewhere. So here's this next one. The title of a famous play. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Like they go meow meow meow. No, yeah,
What does that mean to you? Cat on a hot tin roof.
nervous.
Yes. Anxious, sketchy, nervous. So if cat's on a hot tin roof, it's like, "Ooh."
Cat in a room full of rocking chairs,
Yes, that too.
or sweating like a doggy that ate a peach pit. That's,
Never heard that one.
you've never heard that one?
Never heard that one.
I was listening to a podcast by a famous wrestling personality, Jim Cornette. He said that one time. I'm nervous as a dog eating peach seeds. I'm like, or peach pits. I'm like,
All right. So here's the next one. I do use this myself, probably quite a bit, not in a funny way, in a serious way. Stomping grounds.
yes,
Back in my old stomping grounds.
yes.
Back where you used to live, back where you used to go to college, back where you used to work, back where you, whatever. It's where you used to be, what you used to be considered
Yes.
home. My old stomping grounds.
Yeah, and we've said that unironically, unfunny. Like we've said that, and that might be one of the more southern things we say.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, very unironic. It's part of the lexicon around here. All right, next one. Can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
I disagree with that statement. You're going to need silk in a sow's ear, but it could be done.
But if you don't have the,
it can be
if
sewn
you don't
to
have
the,
if you don't have the silk, you can't.
yeah. It should
couldn't
say
make a
as
purse with just
difficult
the
to
silk.
make if you're short on materials, which makes it verbose.
All right. So again, this is an insult that is couched as something that's not an insult. Basically, it's saying someone doesn't have any taste in clothing. So
Yeah.
they have tacky clothes.
Well, no, I've also heard it like, well, once again, it's porcine and it's like putting lipstick on a pig.
Yes.
It's kind of like you can't make, a silk purse from a sow's ear.
I've heard you can't make a diamond out of dog feces.
I've not heard that one.
You've never heard that one? I swear I've used that with you.
Now I'm gonna have to look that up because I'm sure dog feces has some carbon in it, and under the right amount of pressure. Gosh, I've only
For
been
about
teaching science for 5 weeks, and this is the way I'm thinking.
For about 10 million years, you probably could make
Yeah.
a diamond. All right. Well, I think that'll round it up for the time being. Always fun to talk about the language. Like I said, we haven't done it in a while, and
Yeah. I was just telling somebody today about, like we mentioned this before, that Brown County Fair is next week, and a local colloquialism is it's going to be fair weather next week, and it truly is.
well, I mean, in fair weather could mean any number of things, really. I mean, to be
Well,
honest.
no, but around here, fair weather means about
Coolish,
68 degrees.
fallish.
You don't have to bundle up too much, but make sure to bring that light jacket at night.
Right.
Might break into some hot cider or hot yaklet.
There you go. All right. That'll round us out. Like Brady said earlier, chances are we're going to take next week off. If we pull something together, we've talked about some different things.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're able to pull them together or not. But if we do, you'll be the first to know. If we're taking the week off, you'll know about that as well.
And so we don't have to pay vendors fees. If you see me and I'm wearing a book bag, if I'm wearing a book bag on my back, hit me up. I probably have Play It By Ear t-shirts in to sell you.
There you go. All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
No, sir. I'll see. No, sir.
Yes, I see. All right. As always, the audio version of the show will come out on Friday morning, 3 a.m. You can find that on most any platform you can find an audio podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and the iHeartRadio app. Anchor.fm is our main source of that audio podcast. Video, you can find it on our YouTube channel. If you search Play It By Ear podcast, you can also watch video on Spotify now. So if you're inclined to do that. Also Twitch. Social media, our Facebook page will also archive our Facebook Live here. Twitter at Play It By Ear Pod 2, Instagrams. All those links are on our website, www.playitbyearpodcast.com. And if you want to interact via email, admin at playitbyearpodcast.com. If you'd like to leave a voice message for us to be included in the podcast, click the link at your podcast provider. There will be for example, on the iHeartRadio app, there is a talkback button, which looks like a microphone. You can leave a voice message in that manner. All righty. Brady, take us out, my brother.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Play It By Ear podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter at Play It By Ear Pod 2, and our website at anchor.fm/Play It By Ear podcast. Thanks again, and join us next time as we play it by ear.